Hello, everyone. Welcome to Nails and Beauty Talk. I'm your host, Asia the Bird. To have a very special guest with me today, she's an artist and illustrator and businesswoman. Please welcome Christina Lore. Hello, Christina, and welcome to the show.
Hi, thank
Hello.
you so much.
Yeah, you're most welcome. So I want to go ahead and get started by asking where are you from and how'd you get started in art?
Well, I'm from Atlanta, Georgia.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's where I'm from. And how I got started, well, I started drawing and getting into art when I was younger. Don't really remember a specific age, but I just remember I would always love to draw like my favorite cartoons and everything. And I really
Right.
enjoyed anime and stuff like that and Disney and things like that. So I just kind of, took that interest and it just turned into more.
Wow, that's really, really cool. Now, did you go to art school or are you purely self-taught, essentially?
I actually did go to SCAD for a little bit.
Really? I did too.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, so I went there for a little bit, but I ended up leaving once I, started to realize I, was making a lot of opportunities for myself. And, I
Right.
went there for I feel like the perfect amount of time. I learned new things that I wouldn't have learned if I didn't go there. I've got experience from there. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it, at the time that I was there. But yeah, now I'm just basically self-taught, and I was self-taught before I went there as well, but I did learn some skills and assets that I wouldn't have learned if I didn't go. So mhm.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm purely like self-taught, but I went to SCAD, like all 4 years. Did you go like for 2 years, like 1 year? Like how long?
I think it was about 2 years. I'm gonna say about 2 years, maybe a year and a half or 2 years. I'm gonna say about 2 years. Yeah, I'm gonna say about 2 years. Yeah.
Okay, was it like illustration that you were majoring in, animation, or was it like
Illustration is what I was going to be majoring in. But I actually didn't even start the actual major classes. Like I just did
okay,
all of the basic classes, the core classes first, like graphic design and, the, drafting classes. Like I did all that kind of stuff. Um, so,
okay,
mhm.
all right, cool, cool. Like, what is like some of like your influences in terms of artists?
Well, for artists, I definitely had a lot more when I was on DeviantArt when I was younger. I used to post
Right.
art on there and stuff.
Mhm.
But for right now, I know one of my favorite artists is Chris Sanders, who's actually the artist of Lilo and Stitch. Really, really
Wow.
love his artwork. Yeah, I actually did like a draw the senior style challenge from him, and he
Mhm.
recognized my artwork and stuff and posted me on his page. So that was like so cool because like I love Disney and I love Lilo and Stitch and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And then another artist, I can't really pronounce his name, but it's like Ilya Kovishnov or something. But his
Mhm.
style is like a very like anime realistic type style. Like he takes the anime style, kind of makes it semi-realistic, and then like
Right.
the way that he paints, it makes it look like it's real life. So I really, really like his stuff. And recently, I've been really liking Sam does art on Instagram. His artwork is really nice
Mhm.
too. Um, but yeah, in terms of artists, I think that would be about it. And then as I was still like learning, I really like this one artist named Paris Christou of Toonbox
Mhm.
Studio, and he, would make like pinup art and like
Mhm.
just cute cartoon dolly artwork. And I really liked
Right.
his stuff too while I was continuing to practice and learn my style and stuff. So yeah, those
Mhm.
are the people I can think of from the top of my head for now.
Okay, that's really, really cool. Like I've been inspired, like, Kirby Rosanes. He's an artist like from the Philippines. Like his work is absolutely immaculate, super, super cool. Another one is James Jean. I don't know if you
Mhm.
heard of his work. Like his work is really, really cool, super colorful. Keith Haring, Jean-Michel Basquiat, like those people have really like inspired me to have like my own unique style. There's like this other artist it's on Behance. They're on Behance, but they're like, Hispanic and they do like this whole 3D artwork. Their brand is called Chakatoy. And
Okay.
they're very like cute kawaii anime type of 3D artwork and things like that. So now I want to get into your artwork. How would you describe like your art? Would you consider it as a mixture of anime and like, black, representation? Like how would you describe
Yeah,
it?
I definitely would describe my artwork as a mixture of like anime and Disney.
Hmm.
That was really like the kind of inspiration when I started to try to discover my style. I knew I liked the
Right.
anime style, I knew I liked the Disney style and the animation and how lively and cute the cartoon characters were. So I kind
Right.
of put my own twist in it by kind of putting that together. And then as I started drawing and developing my style, it started to get
Mhm.
a little bit more realistic. So it was kind of like a semi-realistic anime Disney style that kind of came about.
Right.
So that's how I would describe it. And, I definitely have a big influence in, making sure that I represent the Black community because, we don't see a lot of that in, the art community, especially on
Right.
social media. So that's definitely important to me to make sure that, I'm representing and, when people see my artwork, they're like, oh, this looks like me and stuff like that.
Mhm.
That's super important to me. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I could definitely agree with what you were saying because there's a lack of representation that, characters like us. And, I'm glad that like Black art, especially on TikTok or like Instagram are really, doing like solely, art, whether it's manga or like, just like their own type of character style, like representing us.
Exactly. And I'm starting to see a lot more of it now, which is
Mhm.
awesome. I love to see it and, to see more of characters like with our, natural hairstyles, like,
Right.
braids and locks and afros and stuff like that. I love to see more of that. So that's definitely important that, I include a lot of that in my artwork. So.
Yeah, right, exactly. And also too, like with Lupita Nyong'o, like I definitely want to get into her, because she had like her own children's book, that had like the Black girl as like the main character. I forgot what the name of the
I
book is
think I
called.
actually have seen that book. I don't remember the name, but I think I do remember seeing that.
Yeah, yeah. I thought that was really, really cool to just have like even in children's books, like another thing is called Gracie's Corner, which is like an animated kids show on YouTube. Like they have like their own YouTube channel and like it's like a father-daughter duo, and the daughter is like the main character, like Gracie, the
Yeah,
little girl.
I've seen that. Yeah, I think I do remember seeing that, and it was like a little animated short that they had came out with, and the
Mhm.
father was like helping her with her hair, I believe, something like that.
I think it was like a that was like an animation thing, like
Right.
where it was like a daddy daughter. The dad was helping her with her hair. That's like something different. But the one I'm
Okay.
talking about is Gracie's Corner, where it's like animate, talking about like ABCs and
Okay. Gotcha.
row your boat. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
but like the songs, like how they do it is like a Black, representation. Like like the music with us there again. Like they're bops too. The
Right.
Phonics song is an absolute bop.
Awesome. I'll definitely have to check it out for sure.
Yeah, yeah, it's really, really cool. But I also want to get into your art business. So how did you start like your own art business and what's like the journey been like?
Well, I started my business in 2015 and it definitely has developed over time. I believe the first products I was selling was like print on demand things and, like selling my art on products like clothing or
Mhm.
like bags and tote bags and stuff like that. I actually was using this website in the beginning called Society 6, where you could put your artwork on products that they would print out and ship out to your customers. So I
Right.
started out like that, and then over time I started to get supplies like keychains and
Right.
print out my own art prints and stuff like that. And
Mhm.
so, yeah, it just kind of developed to me shipping out my own products. But now I'm getting back to, the print on demand since I'm trying to focus more on just my creativity and putting more work into creating. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, that's really, really cool. But I also want to get into also too, like you have your own coloring books as well as sketch guidebooks. So what made you get into like having your own coloring books and sketch guidebooks and things like that?
Oh yeah, definitely. I definitely knew that, coloring books was something that's high in demand for me. People wanted me to come out with the coloring books. They were always
Mhm.
like, "Oh, you should come out with a coloring book. I would love to color your artwork." And
Mhm.
with the guidebook, that was actually inspired by face stamps that I created for my Patreon members, which
Mhm.
I made so that they can, put them into like Procreate because it was just for
Mhm.
Procreate at first, and
Right.
they use these stamps to kind of help them study, how to draw faces and stuff using these guidelines. So I thought,
Mhm.
why not put it in book form as well for the people who don't have Procreate and stuff like that. So then they can, draw in the book,
Mhm.
everything, and just have like this kind of study guide for them to improve their art skills. So
Right. Right, and it kinda reminds me of him. I don't know if you heard of this guy. He does manga all the time. I used to look at a lot of his videos on YouTube.
mhm.
His name is Mark Crilly, and he
Yes,
does
Mark Curly. Mhm.
yeah, Mark Crilly does a lot of those anime videos. That's how I learned, like, a lot of stuff about, like, manga and how to draw eyes and faces and stuff like that, and,
Right.
like, I think he has his own, like, guidebooks too as well, You
Oh,
know, there's another guy I used to look at on YouTube all the time. His name is Alfonso Dunn. He still does YouTube videos of like how to draw, like stippling, and you
mhm.
know, understand like shadow and light and things like that. So I've learned from those people and stuff like that of just how to draw. And I like what you're doing because you're showing other people how to draw as well. You know, and also you're a Black owned business, so that's really really cool about that.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah, I was really excited when I put that book out because not only did it have those guides in it, but I also included two real-time tutorials, video tutorials in the book as well that you can
Right.
access using a QR code.
Hmm.
So, just basically developing resources to help others out and to help people learn is something that really excites me. So, yeah, that book was definitely something that is a start of, more books like that to come for sure.
Yeah, most definitely. Have you
Mhm.
ever thought about like putting your stuff on Skillshare possibly, or have you already done that?
I actually worked with Skillshare for just like as an affiliate marketer before, but I
Mhm.
never actually put any of my like tutorials or things on there. But that's definitely been a thought. Like I've had another company reach out to me. I think it's called Class 101 about putting my like, tutorials and stuff up on there, which I definitely want to, and I think that would be
Mhm.
something that I would like to do in the future. But now that I'm, on Patreon, I'm just getting in the hang of, like
Mhm.
balancing, my YouTube, my Patreon, and, my
Mhm.
creativity, my business and all that. It's like, I gotta like make time for that. So that's
Mhm.
definitely something that I have thought about and I do know that I would want to do one day. So yeah.
Yeah, that'd be really, really cool. But I
Mhm.
also want to get into in terms of Patreon because I know you mentioned that during this interview. So, what would be the benefits in your perspective in terms of an artist having their own Patreon, possibly?
Oh yeah, Patreon is amazing. Honestly, it's like a really big blessing to me because I feel like Patreon definitely gives an artist a lot more time to focus on their creativity. You
Mhm.
don't have to, worry about, all of these other sources of income as
Right.
much when you have something where you can actually just be making that income by being creative and by, just staying consistent, drawing, sharing your art, and
Mhm.
doing what you love. So it definitely helps me to do more of what I love and to be sustainable at the same time. So Patreon, I love it. I definitely recommend it for
Mhm.
sure.
Yeah,
So
I seen a lot of people do have a Patreon, but I never really knew what the benefits of it was or anything like that. So,
yeah, definitely. Like I remember before, I was a little bit hesitant on getting one, and I was like, "Oh,
mm,
I don't know if this is the right way or if this is what I should do." But I really felt God leading me towards making a Patreon, and
right.
I just stepped out in that faith and I did it, and it's like it's hitting the mark every time. I
Right.
really, really like it, and it also gives me a way to, have something for those people who want to see more of what I'm working on. They want to see behind the scenes. They want to be closer to me. It just gives
Mhm.
me more access to be able to do that, and it's beneficial for both my audience and me. So
Mhm.
I definitely would recommend it for sure.
Yeah, that's really, really cool. Now, what got you started having your own YouTube channel?
So for YouTube, I think it was when I started posting on Instagram and somebody commented, you should do a sketchbook tour. And I
Mhm.
was just like, okay, sure, I'll do a sketchbook tour video. And, I posted it on YouTube and I had no clue it was going to blow up and, end up being like this really big thing. And
Mhm.
yeah, that's just kind of where it all started. People started just coming in and they started noticing me. And, that's when, the YouTube ball started rolling.
Mhm. Right.
Yeah, it just started going like that. So yeah, it just started out by
Mhm.
somebody requesting for me to post a video, and then it just blew up.
Yeah, that's really, really cool. That's really awesome. But I
Mhm.
definitely want to also ask too, like, what are some tips you could provide for someone like an artist who wants to start their own YouTube channel?
Oh, definitely. So for me, the best advice I can give to anyone is just to be yourself. Be
Right.
yourself and do what you love.
Mhm.
Whatever it is that you're passionate about, just share it. Share it with
Mhm.
others. Start recording. If you like to sketch and if you like to paint, if you like to, I know you do nails and stuff like that. And so if you like to do that, open
Mhm.
up that camera and just start talking about how much you love it and what it is you like about it. Share with people tips if they want tips, and just be
Right.
yourself. And consistency really is something that I believe is a big factor too as well.
Mhm.
you're just starting out. I know for me, that's something that I'm still working on.
Yeah, me
Little
too.
progress for that. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely something that I'm still working on. But I think the best advice I can give is just to be yourself and just share with people, how much you enjoy what you do. So.
Mhm. And also too, like, and I understood as of recently, like tags help too,
Oh
especially
yeah.
getting your videos out there and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah, definitely. That's a whole nother like
Mhm.
conversation when it comes to that. That's definitely something that is worth researching and
Mhm.
seeing like what is, what's popping, what's popular, what is,
Mhm.
um I don't know what the word is, but I do know like, certain titles that you title your video
Yeah,
definitely.
what's trending.
Yeah, what's trending. There you go. That's the word that I was trying to think of.
Yeah.
And then your thumbnail, making sure you have a thumbnail that really stands out, something that you would want to click. And I think that's what helps me when I'm like creating my thumbnails or when I'm creating a video. I'm like, is this something that I would want to click on? Is this something that would make me, want to click on out of every other video? And that's like
Right.
a good way to think when you're creating like a video or creating your thumbnail and everything. Is like, what I want to watch this video.
Right.
So yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. But I definitely want to ask too, like in terms of having your own YouTube channel, has social media helped? Do you feel like in terms of social media?
Oh yeah, definitely. Social
Mhm.
media is literally how, my business, is thriving,
Right.
how I'm able to get people on my Patreon and how I'm able to, get people to my shop is
Mhm.
definitely, social media has definitely helped a lot. So yeah, it's really all about putting yourself out there for sure.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Now, in terms of having a business as well, like what is your tips on like pricing and stuff like that in terms of artwork, prints, and things like that?
Oh yeah, well, for pricing for me, it's definitely something that you develop over time as you start to, you learn like how much your time is worth and how
Right.
much you feel that you should charge. Like for example, like when I started out with commissions, for example, I was charging like, around $75. But as I started to, improve, as I started to, have more people request and, I started to get more in demand, the prices would go up. Because
Mhm.
I started to improve, my skill was getting better, and more people were coming to ask me for those commissions. So those are the kind of things you kind of want to factor in when it comes to pricing. Um, and then another thing, like if you are, buying supplies and what is the word? Yeah, merch and stuff like that to sell. Um,
Right.
Factor in how much it costs for you to buy those materials, and then how much you value your artwork and how much you think that's worth, and then
Mhm.
the time that it takes to make it, and then kind of like thinking about those things definitely is important when it comes to having your own business and starting up
Right.
your own art business. So yeah, it's something that I developed over time. It wasn't perfect in the beginning.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah, right. Most definitely. That's something that I still work on in terms of pricing too, and you do have to consider like,
And another thing I want to mention, do not undervalue yourself. Like, don't
right.
think that, you have to make it, inexpensive just so people can buy it. If you know that you put a lot of work into it, if you know that this is how you feel that is worth, because you're going to feel it in your spirit. Like, okay, this feels right to me. This feels like if I
Mhm.
were, a customer looking outside in, this is how much I would want to pay. You know what I mean? And
Right.
yeah, don't undervalue yourself for sure.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely, because you spend a lot of time, a lot of hours in, to putting in a good body of work, whether it's like, like how I do nails, like how you do your work. You spend a lot of time into that, putting stuff together.
For sure, for sure. That's something that I definitely think a lot of people, especially in the art community, need to know. Do not undervalue yourself. Do not, lower your values just because somebody says they can't afford it. I mean, hey, you put the time and you put the work in and you put the effort in, you gotta, charge what you're worth for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something that art schools don't really teach as much,
Mhm.
and it's a good experience to go to art school, but also too, like they should improve more in terms of how to be successful as a business because your brand, you know.
Exactly, exactly. They definitely need to touch on that a lot more. So
Mhm.
I agree.
Yeah, especially, how to start like pricing your work, and especially
Mhm.
like a children's book or prints or merch and stuff like that. That's
Exactly.
something that they could be more in depth about more, and especially understanding your worth and your value and understanding finances. Everything goes into play about it.
Exactly. That's so true. That's so true. And, I have my sister, who's my manager. She helps me a lot with, the business side of things because, I'm more of the creative. So she knows a lot more about like, the financing and things like that to help me out when it comes to, pricing and stuff. And I'll get her advice here and there. So, yeah.
Hmm.
hmm
Yeah, exactly. Now, what are some programs that you use in terms of like your artwork?
So for me, my favorite is Procreate. Like I love Procreate. Like that is literally the only program I really use. When it comes to Photoshop, I use that for editing my photos for prints and for putting
Hmm.
it on merch, making sure that it's in good quality. So I would use Photoshop for just editing my photos when it comes to putting it on merch, and then I use Procreate for creating my digital art. And
Hmm.
I use my iPad for that. So yeah.
Yeah, I heard a lot of good things about Procreate. I never done Procreate personally. Now, have you done like other programs like Illustrator or like
Yeah, like I do remember back in the day when I was, on DeviantArt, I was using Paint Tool Sai, and
Mhm,
I think that's about it, really. Paint Tool Sai. I think I was using Photoshop to draw in too, as well.
mhm.
But when I found Procreate, I was like, this is perfect. I got my iPad, which is just so efficient and effective because I could take it anywhere with me and
Right.
be able to create anywhere I go. So.
Yeah, like once you touch Procreate, you was like, ain't no going back.
Ain't no going back. You got that right.
Yeah.
It is awesome. I love it.
Yeah. Like that's really, really cool. I'm into like Illustrator and like this other program. It's called Fame Designer. So it's like an alternative to Illustrator, but I love using it because it's like a one-time payment. You pay $50, you
Right.
got the whole program. So
Right, right,
that's the
right,
thing.
right, right. And I've actually used Illustrator too before, but oh my goodness, I commend you. Illustrator is definitely a little bit of a challenge. I know for me,
Yeah.
like that's something that you got to learn, and you got to learn the whole program to really get used to it. But yeah, I
Mhm.
definitely think that that's an awesome program to use for sure.
Yeah. Illustrator is like for me, it's like for repeat pattern design. Like I'm into doing like repeat pattern. I haven't done it in a while. I have to get back into it, but I use that for repeat patterns. But like for a fan designer, I use for like my artwork in general. Like for my artwork is like very like cartoony, very abstract, but it's
Yeah.
also, my own style of characters. I like developing my own style of characters.
Right. That's awesome. I really love that.
Yeah. So that's really cool. And it's really cool how like technology has progressed too, especially with art making. So that's really cool as well.
Yeah, that is really cool. I really love like all of the different tools and things that they're coming out with. Even the updates that
Mhm.
they made on Procreate too have definitely changed the game and
Yeah.
made things a lot more, easy for us as artists too.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah, right, exactly. Did you find like was Procreate cheaper? Like what was the price of Procreate or was it
I
free?
think when I first got it, it was like $10 to $15. I think
Mhm,
that was about it. Honestly, that really isn't much, for it to be
mhm.
so effective and for it to be like I call it my little money maker right there. That's where all of my designs come out of. I mean, that
Mhm.
investment honestly is so worth it. It's not expensive. It's not like, how
Yeah.
Photoshop is. Photoshop was like around, it's like in the hundreds, $50.
Yeah, right, yeah.
But
Illustrator's like $200, like
yeah, so Procreate definitely affordable. It's worth it. And I love it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I also definitely wanna get into in terms of your artwork, in terms of, like, just planning it out. Like, do you plan your artwork or do you just do freestyle essentially?
Yeah, that's definitely something I want to work on more, like out my artwork and having like
Mhm,
better ideas, storytelling ideas and stuff like that. Because I have all these ideas in my head
mhm.
that I definitely would like to execute. But there's one thing that I know that I've been working on is not being a perfectionist because I don't always have to get the exact image and idea in my mind at the moment. As long as I'm creating, I know
Mhm.
that eventually I'll be able to execute deeper ideas and better ideas and
Right.
plans when it comes. But for me, as of now, I just find pictures that I'm inspired by. Like I go on
Okay.
Pinterest. I also have these other apps that I've been using. I think it's one on my phone. I don't know if I could pull it up right now. It's called Pexels and Unsplash, and you can find
Okay.
other, reference images on there. And I've been, getting into studying lighting lately. So I've been looking at a lot of references with lighting or references with, beautiful backgrounds and, just stuff like that. Whatever really inspires me. And then I just draw.
Wow, that's really, really cool. But I also want to talk about in terms of just within the whole economy now, like how do you feel like in terms of the economy, how has that impacted artists? If you can give your perspective.
To be honest, I don't really know how to answer that question. I just know, like, for example, like I know in 2020, oh my goodness, that was definitely a year where everybody I feel like was like kind of struggling a little bit when it came to finances and things like that. And I know that, like, with everything that's been going on, it could have definitely impacted, artists in a way to where, we can't get access to those supplies and things
Right.
as we would like to, and things like that. But hopefully, things have changed, since, 2020 and all those, downfalls and stuff like that.
Right.
I know for me in 2020, that was actually kind of a good year for me. I was actually able to kind of just, sit back and create and just really get my stuff out there a little bit more.
Right.
And yeah, that's really all I have to say about that.
Yeah. It's totally cool, because the whole thing is with the economy now, it's kind of like fluctuating. I've kind of noticed, especially with gas prices, food prices, people, charging up for their work, which makes sense because, stuff is changing.
Oh yeah.
Prices are going up. So it's like, you should be going up with your services and stuff like that.
For sure. Oh yeah. I've definitely noticed the, the inflation of prices and stuff like that. So definitely makes sense. I agree.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, what has been your experience doing like collaboration possibly?
I'm going to be honest. I definitely am not good with the collaborations thing. I definitely need to work on that more. I know recently I just worked for Patreon, the actual company reached out to me to, collab with them. So I've done stuff like that. But as far as like collabing with other artists, like I have to, get better with that and make more time for it since, I've been kind of busy just, focusing on, my business and everything that I'm trying to do. So I definitely know that for sure in the future is something that I want to, do more of. And, I want to collab with, other brands and things like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Is there any brands you would like to collaborate with? Like any like, art brands and maybe like, top brands like Marvel or something like that or,
Yeah, I mean, I would love to collab with Disney. That would be something.
That's cool.
That would be so cool. I would love to collab with my favorite art brands. Like, I do like what's this? I think it's the Stadler or Graph Gear because I have this pencil called the Graph Gear 500. I think it's by Stadler or something. I think
Okay.
Say or pronounce it. I really like their pencils. But yeah, I can't really think of at the top of my head, the art company that I'd like to collab with, but I know that there's some that I would like to. So
yeah. Yeah, that'd be cool to do like collaborations, like I could see you doing like, working with like Skillshare, like Procreate or something like that.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, Procreate. Definitely. How could I forget? I would love to collab with Procreate for sure.
Since you use the program a lot, so that would make sense.
Yeah, that's definitely something I think would be on my top list of, collaboration requests. Would definitely be Procreate. I would love that.
Yeah, that'd be really, really cool. But I also want to get into as well, like, how do you feel like your art has progressed from how you first started getting into art to now?
How would I feel has it progressed? Oh, I definitely feel like it's progressed a lot. I definitely have seen the improvements. I do remember the time when I was actually just learning digital art and it was like a whole nother language to me. It was so hard. But I actually took the time to, like take some classes. I actually took, I think it's called Paintable or something like that. It was some digital painting academy that I joined. It was online, and I learned a lot about digital painting there. And I started learning it more, started practicing it more, and I started to. And I actually started out in the beginning when I was in DeviantArt with watercolors and more traditional work. So I definitely have progressed over time when it comes to that. I definitely want to continue to use all mediums, even though I've been focused on digital. But yeah, my style has definitely progressed a lot. I can definitely tell. I think it's definitely more of what I've been looking for in regards to the Disney anime, semi-realistic style. I think it has finally kind of come together to how I want it to be. So,
Mm. Yeah, that's really, really cool. That's the same with me. Like when I first started, I was doing like paint and stuff, like watercolors, acrylic. I mean, I still do acrylic paint.
mm,
I do like gouache. I do nail it, of course. You know what I mean? So that's the same with me. Like I feel like my style's progressed and evolved so much, and that's so cool to see. Like if you look back at your old drawings, and I've done that as a recent. I look back at my old drawings, I'm like, wow, I came a long way.
yes, yes, I feel the same way. Yeah. And, like you said, you work with acrylics and stuff. I really want to do that too. Like I've painted
Mhm,
before with acrylics and stuff, but I want to, get into, that medium for sure.
mhm.
So yeah, there's still a lot of things that I would like to, try out.
But yeah, Posca markers, like I'm getting into Posca markers, those acrylic paint markers,
I've heard of
they're
those.
absolutely good. Like I see
Mhm.
a lot of people using them.
Right. That's definitely something I think I wanted to put on my list of like art supplies to try for sure. Mhm.
Yeah, that'd be really, really cool.
Yeah.
Now, like, what's next for you?
What's next for me? I would say just more books for sure. I want more
Mhm.
books. I kind of want, raw sushi to turn into like almost like Lisa Frank kind of, or like
Right,
Frank, you know what I mean? Like,
right, yeah.
kind of like this kind of turn into like a, Hello Kitty, how Hello Kitty is
Mhm,
so wide and vast, because I do look at myself
mhm,
as kind of like a feel good, gift giving kind of brand when it comes to
mhm,
business. So I could definitely see my art on, products, cute things, stuff like
mhm.
that. Like I can definitely see like a whole like little empire of that
Yeah, that'd
going
be
on.
really cool, like the black version of Lisa Frank. Like Lisa Frank, like was like notebooks and like school supplies and erasers.
Exactly. So, that would be definitely like really cool. I definitely want to have my own art supplies too. I think that would be
Mhm.
cool. And
Yeah,
like you said, a lot more collabs. So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That'd be really, really cool, especially like your own toys. I can see you having your own toys too.
Yeah, yeah, for
You
sure.
know,
Dolls, all that kind of stuff.
yeah, that'd be really, really cool.
Mhm.
Now, how would you define success in your perspective?
For me, success is funny. I think I actually answered this question at a panel that I was at a couple days ago.
Mhm,
But for me, success is when you just don't give up. Because I believe that,
mhm.
the only time you fail is when you stop, when you don't keep
Yeah.
going. And, another way I define success is just seeing how I've inspired those around me, just to see how
Mhm.
I put a smile on somebody else's face, just to see that
Yeah,
somebody,
exactly right.
like, yeah, somebody would say, like, I was feeling sad today, but, you made me feel better, just stuff like
Right.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like seeing how
Mhm.
I could make somebody's day, how I could, make somebody feel so much better, help somebody be of service. I think
Mhm.
that's
Exactly.
success to me. So,
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely agree with that. Is making other people happy, but also too, I definitely want to get into mental health. Because I think mental health plays a big part in terms of being successful and especially maintaining work ethics. So, what is your take in terms of mental health? Like, have you been able to balance being an artist and mental health?
right, 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 right. But for me, like I definitely am a big believer in God and stuff, and God has definitely helped me so much on my journey. Like if it wasn't for Him, I wouldn't be where I am. And when it
Right.
comes to like those challenges, like self doubt, anxiety, depression, or whatever it may be, I always would go to God about it and pray about it, and that would always kind of help me to just be that light, and then I would share that love with others. I would share with them how God has helped me, and how my spirituality has really helped to grow me as a person, and not
Mhm.
only in my art but mentally as well. And
Right.
just sharing that light and that love with others, I see how much it has helped other people too. So I think for me, yeah, that's definitely how I've been balancing it, is with God. Like I couldn't have done
Mhm.
it without Him. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm the same way. Like God has helped me, lead the way in terms of where I'm at today. You know,
Exactly.
and also too, like my parents too, my family have, been big supporters of me and what I do, and that's the thing. That's what I like with us as Black people. We're very spiritual, you know what
Right.
I mean? And that helps us guide us to the light, especially through the hard times.
Exactly, exactly. I'm so happy that you have, family and people who support you, because that's something that is so important. That's another thing that's helped me too, is just having my friends and family who,
Mhm,
love me and support me and what it is that I love to do. So, yeah.
mhm. Yeah, most definitely, and especially But then our generation now, like mental health is more talked about than ever.
Oh yeah,
It's a big
for
thing too.
sure. For sure, for sure. It's definitely an important topic.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
Last but not least, where could people find your social media and how could people support your work?
You can find me on Instagram at Raw Sushi, and that is RAWSUESHII. And on TikTok, you can find me at Raw Sushi Official. So that's RAWSUESHII Official. And I also have a website, which is rawfortune.co. So that's raw and then fortune.co. And I also have my main site, which is rawsushi.com. So you can find me on those platforms and you can find my website and everything. And then my YouTube is youtube.com/Christina Lorray. So yeah.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, Christina. Your work is absolutely incredible. I love what you're doing. I can't wait to see where you go from here. It's absolutely incredible. I had fun. You're such a bubbly person, and it's really, really cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And thank you for, inviting me out here to do this interview. So,
Yeah, thank you. Take care.
okay, you too. Bye-bye.
Goodbye. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to click the bell for notifications. Also, follow me on my social media platforms and visit my website, asiaticbird.com, and be on the lookout for more interviews to come very soon. Take care and stay beautiful.